when you're getting started to do your kit pages, I do want to recommend that you distress each of the pages with your distress pad and a little ink blotter that I gave you. I do recommend that. They look a little bit neater, they flow a little bit better, and they look good on your pages. You'll notice at the very beginning of my video, I didn't do that because I was trying to get some speedy work done. So I'll try to pick up on that again. But starting about page 4, I'd say I'll start distressing them like I should have to begin with. But I did want to point out, you may want to do that. Welcome to video 2. I'm glad you made it through making your album. I'm very pleased with mine. Now we're going to do the pages inside the album. This part left over from that first packet that has your cover pages and your mats and tassel and all that, leave that to the side. We're not going to try to do that right now. What we're going to do is go ahead and start taking these pages that we made before we put them in the book and actually decorating them. I think that always works better. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages ready to go. Hopefully you've been able to go ahead and fold them and then attach them so you have a hollow center to them. This is what goes over your gusset. It'll slide in. So we're going to attach to these. And then your inserts we're going to do as one of the very last things on the video. We'll just add a border to these. Very simple thing. I rounded the corners. They're ready to go in. So I'm going to lay those to the side. So even though this is a page, the first page is actually in the book itself. This is going to be page 1. Then you're going to have page 2, page 3, page 4 and 5, 6 and 7, 8 and 9, and then 10 will be the back cover. Does that make sense to everybody? Make it very simple and clear to you what we're working on. This will be the page 1. So in page 1, if you'll notice in your kit, you have individual envelopes that have little stickers on them that say 1, 2, 3, all the way to 10. That references which page you need to work on. And like number 1 has this, this, and this in it. You don't have this yet. This you cut for yourself with your cutting guide. Anything in orange, you cut out yourself. The reason being, I want you to choose which decorative papers you want where in your book. You're welcome to follow me. I gave you 2 collections. That way you have plenty of paper to pick from and have leftover for your cards. So right now we're going to put together, I'm going to set these to the side for a moment, and we're going to go ahead and put together page 1 together. Redundant saying there. But I cut this piece here. It's the printed paper mat that is 8 by 6. Again, you'll see it in orange on your cutting guide. And yes, I've made notes because I've been checking everything. So we're going to take this piece here and attach it to our, what I call a putty color cardstock. So let's go ahead and attach this piece. You can put either side, whichever you think will be prettier on your cover. I want the leaves. So I'm going to take my glue gun. It has art glitter glue in it. And I'm just going to squeeze some glue on here. And a bunch of it came out at the very beginning, so I'm going to wipe some of it off just a little to smooth it out. I don't like globs of glue behind. And then I'm going to attach it to the putty colored cardstock. CS means cardstock, PP means your printed paper from the Stamperia collection. This is absolutely gorgeous paper. I may not have said it before, and if I had, bear with me, but Stamperia no longer prints this set. I bought everything they had from Stamperia. I bought hundreds of these. collection kits. We have the only ones left in the world as far as I know. So if you want more of this paper, you're going to have to contact me. I'm selling it. But the Woodland collection set is just gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous. Okay, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it inside my cover. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to be a little heavy-handed on my glue here. Okay. Put it in here. And if you noticed on the video, I have done something different this time. I have done a pre-title to each section so you know what page I'm working on. I thought that might help you when you're getting out your kit pieces. There we go. Now, I've got this piece, which is already pre-scored for you. 1/2 inch on the short ends, 1/2 inch on the long end. I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to miter the edge of that. I wish I could say that was the dinner bell, but it was me hitting the light. I mitered those, and then I'm going to quickly miter right up to this edge here. Good. Burnish this down. And folks, when I do pockets, I do like to glue them, but for the purposes of the video, I will tape these because I don't have time to wait for the glue to dry between. You can do both if you wish. I'm just very stubborn about that. I'll get out my little basket of tape and glue this down. Or tape it down, I should say. You are going to need some double stick adhesive in this video for some of the work we're going to be doing. But right this minute, you can use glue for this. Okay. There we go. There and there. Now I'm going to peel this off. Note to self, do not clip off fingernails before you do videos with tape. Yeah, well, hey. All right, now I'm going to take this, pull it right here into the front, and I'm going to line it up, oh, I don't know, maybe at the bottom of this mat in the center. Oops. About did it upside down, guys. That would have been hysterical. My first boo-boo of the day. Not really. I make a lot of them during the day. All right, there we go. Now this is going to go directly on top of that. This is our printed paper piece that's 6 by 2.5 inches. I'm going to glue that down. A lot of those 6 by 6 squares that they have yield a very pretty background for these pockets. Now, you're going to say, why do you have a pocket that big? The reason being, your note cards that I gave you fit in these pockets because they're 6 by 6. So that should fit nicely right there for you. Now, to give it a little bit of trim, let's add a little bit of corrugated paper. You can add it anywhere you like. I'm going to stick mine on the top of that pocket. Right there. Kind of even it out a little. And there you go. That is page 1. Okay, so now pull out packet number 2. The page number 2 is going to be on one of these sleeves, doesn't matter which side. You're going to pull out some of your printed paper and cut it to 7 3/4 by 5 3/4. It's going to go on that sleeve. So let's go ahead and attach that. You can do whatever paper you desire. Okay. And I'm going to stick that down. I'm going to put it in the center. Just like that. In the packet, you have a piece of brown paper like this. The way this is going to work is very simple. You're going to fold it right here, okay? Just like that. And then it's going to lay like that. So I'm going to take some tape or glue and attach this piece here to that piece. The score lines are for you to find where you need to fold and what you need to attach. Now this will lift up. I'll score that back so it will lift nicely. And this one should lift up as well. I'll score it back or burnish it back. Okay. Now I have a real pretty flap that I can put right here and put pictures on the inside and behind it. Isn't that a neat thing? So I'm going to take this and I'm going to, before I put it down, I'm going to reach into this little packet of ribbons and twine that I have in my kit. I'm not sure where you're going to find it because we haven't decided for sure where we want to put it. But I'm going to pull out my ribbons. What we did here, guys, is we cut you 36 inches of each one. They're different colors, and you might want rust in one place and brown in one place, so I just referred to ribbon. Your choice, you pick which one you like. In this case, I'm going to pick the brown, and I'm going to cut about 12 to 15 inches here. I'm going to use my bow maker, and I'm going to tie a little bow because I'm going to take the ends and drape them to the back of what we're going to attach it to. So that's why I'm using the bow maker. I want this to be a flat bow. Okay, kind of move it around a little bit there. I made a very small one for this one. I made bigger ones on the others. That'll work. I can use that. Let me try making it a little bigger, so I'll pull my knot out. Here we go. I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger. Hopefully I cut enough ribbon to be able to do that. So I'm going to make it a little bit wider. Okay. Pull that in through. Lovely. So the bow is actually about 2 inches. Now, I'm going to be putting it like this, okay? Which means I'm going to need a piece of printed paper to go underneath it so it kind of pops it a little. And this little printed piece of paper that you see here is actually a border that is cut to 7/8 by 3 1/4. So I'm just going to glue it down quickly. You pull in just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to pop it right there on top. Good. Now I'm going to take some double stick adhesive mounting foam and I'm going to put that on the back of this. So I'm going to flip it over. You can use pop-up dots, you can use tape, whatever you want to pop it up with. Let me put a little bit more right here. And I'll show you why I'm doing that. If you watch, I like to put the ends of my ribbon on top of pop-up tape because it does a nice job of securing the bow in place. So now when I turn this over, let's see. I'm going to center my bow and pull my ends to the back. That way, the pop-up tape secures it. And I can pull it nice and tight on the other end. And look, now I've got a pretty little bow centered and popped up a little bit. Now I'm going to put a decorative paper on the front. And I'm going to put it on this front mat only. Now, you're going to ask, why did you cut your bird off? Well, because there's a sheet in your collection that has fussy cutting images, and I'm going to pop this one up like this. So right now, I'm going to glue it flat. Trying to stay in camera, except I'm getting glue all over my stuff. And I'm going to put this down right here. Oh, that's pretty. Notice it stays because I glued it to the table. Now I'm going to attach my bird to my paper, but only on this bottom part because it's going to overlap the top part. So I'm just going to simply add it here to where it fits the one on the paper. Isn't that cute? Then there's another piece of printed paper. This one again is the same width, 7/8 of an inch. I think about 3 1/4. And I'm trying to decide which way I like it best. If I like that side or that side. I think I like this side, and I'm going to leave it like that. So put a little glue on there and stick that down to match my other border. Doesn't that look good? Now I'm going to stick it to my page. Now here's where you can be creative. I'm using the double stick tape that I did my ribbon with to hold this, so I can lift it up and put a photograph there and a photograph here. Isn't that a pretty page? That looks really nice. I like that a lot. So that's the end of page 2. We'll save the rest of our ribbons for a later page and go to page 3. Now page 3 is the back of page 2. So we're going to be using this sheet here to do it. And pull out number 3. I have to pull out all my little pieces and notes to myself. Now number 3 has a few more pieces to it. Here we go. You're going to have this piece here, which looks like the beginnings of a pocket, but it's not. It's called a belly band. This is a flap that's going to go on top of the belly band. This is going to be a mat that goes on top of that flap. And this piece here is going to tie all that together. Okay? It's going to be our belly band loop that's going to hold it all together. So I cut out several pieces of paper here, and I'll show you what I do with those in just a second. But first, I want to tell you that we have to do some creating here before we attach the background pieces, okay? So don't start with those first. The first thing I'm going to do, this piece here is your anchor belly, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to score it. And I'm going to score it here. Okay. Now, again, I like to miter my corners just a bit so that everything goes in and out easily and slides. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So now that I've got that done, this is going to be attached onto here, but before I do, this flap is going to attach on top of this one, like this. So I'm going to take this one and burnish it down and miter it as well. Now you know the game plan a little bit. So let's start with this flap. I'm going to take the mat that's included in your packet. I'm going to lay it there. I did do some cutting with this piece here. It is 5 1/4 by 5 3/4, I believe. And I'm going to put it on top of that mat and put it on my flap. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those down. Let's see, do I want this side or this side? Well, this one has the hedgehog, so I guess I better use it, since the picture is going to be of a hedgehog. Okay, and I'm going to glue this down to the craft side here. It's not going to be an even fit. It's cut deliberately a little bit wider on the sides than it is on the top and the bottom. Excellent. And if you don't get it straight, you can reposition it if you used glue. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to glue this down to my flap. This is going rather quickly, isn't it? All right. I'm going to put that one down to this. Like so. Perfect. My flap is going to be at the top. Now I'm going to take this, which has my flap at the top and the bottom, and I'm going to attach this. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that in place. This is the main printed paper mat. This is the one that's 5 1/4 by 5 3/4. I told you the wrong size a second ago. Sorry, guys. The other one is 3 1/2 by 5 1/8. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to lay my flaps out so I can get it straight. There we go. Excellent. Wonderful. Now, I'm going to take, this is the tricky part, okay? I'm going to take this flap here and I'm going to glue it to the bottom of my page. Right down here at the edge, okay? Now, I'm going to use tape, like I said before. I'm going to actually use both on this so it will hold. Okay, and I can give myself a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, I'm going to pull this up like that. Find the center. Border this on the bottom so it's even on my page. Needs to go a little bit lower. I want it to be even on the top too. Good. All right, now that's in place. I'm going to take this part. Don't glue it down because we're going to glue this to this first, okay? So we're going to take the glue, put it on the underside of your little flap, find the center, stick it on there. Nice. Good. Smooth that out a little bit. Now you're going to glue over top. This is the part that gets confusing. You're not going to glue on the inside. You're doing it on the outside. Okay? That's why you put this flap on first. Now we're going to hold this down. I've got glue on my fingers and my head's going to be in the way. But I'm going to get it to the top of my page and press it down firmly. You're going to do this again in the book, so pay attention to this part. Good. Now you'll see we have a belly band. This is hollow in here. This is a nice little flap that's going to come up so that you can put pictures underneath. You could even put printed paper there if you choose. Okay? And then you've got two borders. These two borders are your side printed paper mats, 1 1/8 by 5 7/8. I'm going to put them on there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue them down. They can tuck under your big belly band, okay? They're just to complement the page. So I'm going to put one here if it doesn't go under. There we go. And then I'm going to put the other one on. Good. Excellent. That one should have gone under a little bit. It's a little wider. I didn't get my belly band in the very center. That's okay. This is the reason why we're doing this together. Lovely. Needs to go up just a hair. Okay. Perfect. And put a little glue on my corners that I pulled back up so they stay down. Okay. Then, to hold this all together, we're going to put this belly band through. Now, normally I attach it before I put it down on the paper, but to make things easy for you, look here. If I slide it through like this, and I fold it over like this, and like this, see? Then I can slide it up and down easily. Now, I like to give myself just a little extra wiggle room so that it's not real tight if I put a picture in there. Some tape or some glue, and I'm just going to put it on this piece right here, and I'm going to overlap this one on top of that one. Make sure that I don't stick it out too far. Line them up. Good. And I don't have to worry because I'm going to fussy cut this little flower out. So I'm going to quickly do that. You can choose any of those cut aparts to use for this particular step. This one just appealed to me. And if you'll notice, I'm going to leave some white showing to show you what the distressing does for you. So let me quickly cut out this a little. I chose this one because I knew I could do it fast. And if I cut in too far, when I do the distressing, all of those white areas are not going to show up. It's going to look like I did a beautiful job of cutting it, fussy cutting it. Excellent choice. Yes, this looks good. And I want to do just a bit in the center there to kind of tie it all together. Doesn't that look a lot better than what it did before? Then I'm going to take a little bit of my mounting foam or pop-up dot. And I'm going to put it right onto my belly band here. Pull off my backing. And pop it on. This is my page. So I can pull it on down so that I can pop this up. Well, got to pull it on down over the mitering. Yep, there we go. And you can see the inside, so you can journal, put pictures, do whatever you like. But isn't that neat? Looks really good. And if you'd gone back and distressed those edges, it tied together much better. All right, so that's page 2 and page 3 on this one. Now for page 4. All right, so for page 4, a lot of little pieces here we need to fussy cut, or I'm sorry, not fussy cut, but to cut out. Get some of my trash away. Okay. And let's see here. Got a lot of pieces. This is my background piece that I cut for page 4. This piece is 7 3/4 wide by 5 3/4. I can use either side. But before I put that down, I'm going to attach a couple of flaps. Okay? Because these flaps are going to be attached to this printed paper. So what I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do is glue this or tape this down. I think I'll glue just where the paper is here. I'm going to fold it over and glue it like that. Now I'm going to miter that corner just a little bit. I've got glue showing, so I'll wipe it off. I'm going to miter that just a little bit. And then the flap is going to go like this. I don't know why I got that off to begin with, but it was the way it needed to be done. All right, now, before I attach this to here, I'm going to take the other flap, which is not here. Yeah, it is. There it is. Woohoo! See, I'm just not with it tonight. You have no idea about today. Okay, so I'm going to attach this on here. I'll flip it over so you don't see my writing. And I'm going to do the same thing. You can do it up high. You can do it down low. I'm going to do this one, I think in the middle. I'm going to try that and see how it looks. I think that would be fun. So again, I'm going to take my glue and apply it on here. Stick this down in what I would call the middle. Good. Fold it over. Now I've got my 2 flaps attached, okay? So I can take these and I can now attach all of this that's on the back down to the front of my to this page. It will leave a little bit of brown on the edge here, a little bit of brown on the edge there, and then this and this should be flush. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to glue my flaps down to the page as far as the extra that shows. Okay, so here we go. Put this down. Okay, take a little bit of a rag and get my glue off of there. And we'll finish this baby up. Okay, so now we're going to put our mat on the front of this smaller flap. And that's going to be 5 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to start distressing my edges a little so that I heed my own advice about the distressing. And I don't want to do a lot, just enough to kind of blend it. All of these papers are printed, so there's a white core that shows, and this keeps that white core from showing. So I'm going to place it on here. See, I have notes on my papers on the back so I can find it. It was hard to choose these sides, I'll tell you. They're pretty. I like single-sided paper, so I don't have to choose. Put that down. See if I've got that straight. Yep, that looks great. Burnish it in place. Good. Now there's a pocket piece here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, burnish down my folds. Excuse me. Okay. Miter those corners. And across the top. Goldenrod time. I don't know about you, but goldenrod kills me. Allergies. Okay. Press that down. Okay, I'm going to wait to put this on for just a few minutes, but we've got it ready. Then I'm going to open this up. Alrighty. And I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to put this one right here. Okay, this is the printed paper front left mat, which is a little bit bigger. It's the 6 3/4 by the 5 3/4. Yep, that'll be pretty together. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down as soon as I distress it. And there's another side that's real pretty. That's going to, I don't know which side I like better now. You know what? What's on the inside? I think I'll go ahead and do this side. Sorry, the dog is barking. For those of you that have never owned a Great Pyrenees, don't get one if you don't mind if you mind the barking, because they bark. My joke is they hear a squirrel fart 3 miles away and they bark. I'm sorry, that was ugly, but that's the truth. She drives me insane with that barking sometimes, but she's the most lovable dog I've ever had. Okay, get some tape, glue on there. Glue this down to the front. Oh, that's pretty, isn't it? This paper is so gorgeous. Okay, now I'm going to open it up and I'm going to put this little fella right here. on this side, I believe. Let me see what else I want to do with that. Yep, I'm going to put him right there, or I could flip him over. Oh, yeah, and then it would kind of go good if you had pictures. Let's do that. So I'm going to go ahead and run it around this too. This slows me down just a little, but not too terribly much. Plus, I want to remind you to start doing this through here. Okay. And now I'm going to glue it there. Goodbye, hedgehog. Have no fear, you have another one in your kit. All right, I'm going to put this in the center. Right there. And then I gave you two little borders. These little borders, they're to just kind of accent that middle piece there. So I'm going to take them and glue them down. I have two of them, supposedly, even though I don't see one of them at the moment. And glue them as a little border right there. The other one will turn up, I'm very confident. So it would go right here. And then again, the Great Pyrenees could have run off with a little piece of paper that I've dropped. So that's good there, that's good there. And then over here, we're going to add this piece. This is the inside left flap. And you've got a larger size mat and a smaller one. So we're going to put both of these on here. So I'm going to use my glue for that. Glue it down here. Oop, almost did it upside down. Wouldn't that be embarrassing? There we go. And then you have another little piece of paper here. This one is going to be on the side of that one. So let me quickly rub it through here. Now, the lazy man way of doing this is just take the edges and do this. You can do that. It won't hurt a thing. It just won't blend as well. And then we're going to stick this right here. If you notice, I used a continuous pattern. That's the rest of the fern beside it. Outstanding. Now, just when you think we have it just about done, we're going to open it back up again. We're going to take the pocket piece that we have, and we're going to go ahead and burnish it down. This is another larger pocket that will hold your note cards. Alrighty. And we cut my X, miter my corner, and again, yay. And we're going to glue this down right here. So let me make sure I've got it as flattened as I can get it. Good. Then I'm going to take my tape and put it on there. And I'm going to use glue so I can make sure it holds. Okay. And I need to trim this. Okay. Outstanding. Now I'll burnish those down so they'll stick very well. Pull that off the backing. My camera's awfully far over on the table and I keep pulling back to my chest, which takes me out of frame. Sorry. And trust me, it's not because my chest is so large. My eyesight's just that bad. Okay, we'll add that and that. The glue will help allow you to center it, and it will hold better to have two adhesives there. So now I'm just going to lay it right here. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. You can use a centering ruler if you like. Take my little rag, get my excess glue off of it, And then I'm going to put another piece here. So once again, I'm going to distress the edges of it. Now we're going to be doing this exact same thing later on in the book. We have a mirror image of this page at the opposite end. I think it's page 8 if I remember correctly. But that way you'll know what we're talking about. When I say this is a repeat of page 4, you'll know exactly. I'm going to put this down here. Good. So now I've got that where I can put my cards in here. I've got that, and I've got this. But I have a pocket left. And you can choose where you want this pocket. You can put it here, or you can put it under here. It makes no difference to me. It's entirely up to you. I have been putting it right there and sticking some tags in there. But you know, I'm thinking I might put it on that next one down to stagger it just a little bit. I'm going to trim it just a little bit more so I can make sure it lays flat. Again, some tape. Okay. Okay, okie dokie. Okay, so I got my glue on there, and I'm going to flip this over and put it right here. I think that would kind of look nice when you have those two together, side by side. And then when you look in your paper collection kit, you're going to find you have these little tags that you can cut out and then distress them. And you're just going to put them in your pockets like that. Isn't that gorgeous? So that's the end of page 4. So now we'll go to page 5. Okay. All right, for page 5, I said it was page 8 earlier. I meant page 5. This is an exact replica of this one. So you're going to open up you're going to flip this over. All right, so for page 5, okay, so after we do 4, we do page 5. We're going to put it on the back of this one here. So let's see what our pieces hold for page 5. We have this piece, which is a flap. We have this piece. Oh, that's cute, isn't it? Yeah. And we have this piece. And we have this one and this. So you're going to have to cut out the piece that's going to go on the little flap like this. You're going to have to cut out this piece here, which is the flap. I got to get my paper here. The right flap, which is 6 3/4 by 5 3/4. And this flap is a pretty craft color. Then you're going to be putting down this one directly on here. But before we put it down, what do you think we're going to do? We're going to attach our flaps once again. Okay? And you do notice they're larger than this piece of paper on purpose. So now we're going to attach this behind here. So let's put our tape right here on the flap, kind of burnish it down, add a little bit of glue. I'll put some tape on the back by accident. Let's see. Here we go. Add a little bit of glue. And I'm going to tape this down, or glue, whichever you've done, or both, so that this flap will go over here. And it will fold over nice and straight. Okay. I got something on the back of it. There we go. Now I don't. All right. So I've got my flap here. Now I'm going to be putting this down like this. Okay. And if you want to trim this a little bit at that edge, this would be the time to do it. Excellent. Okay, my scissors are not working at an angle. There we go. I need to attach this flap right here. So again, I'm going to put tape on this. Good. I'm going to miter those corners a little bit. A little bit of glue. And then I'm going to slide it in underneath this, wherever I want it. I think I'm going to put mine right there. Good. So, what I've got at the moment, and I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. So, I'll add my glue. Okay. I'm going to take this and add it to the page, back of the page 4. Get it on there, lay it down. Excellent. Make sure it's not upside down. It's not. And then this is going to fold over, and this is going to go over that, but it doesn't. Because I put the flap too low. So, let me pull it apart. Okay. So I'm going to stick my flap underneath here, and I'm going to leave it sticking out because I want it to go flush with the top of the page, and I didn't do that. So let's redo this. Okay, now it closes, I think. There we go. Now we got it. Okay, excellent. Now this piece here, or this piece, I'm going to put this one here, or this one. What do you think? I think I like this little fella. So let's distress the edges of it. Glue it down. There we are. Then this one is going to go on the inside of this, either like this or like this, and I think I like it facing each other, so I'm going to distress it real quick. Alright, and I'm going to finish distressing it and glue it down in place in just a second here. So, add the glue. Stick it down to where it's nice and straight. maybe, kind of, sort of. Nowhere close. That's pretty close, so we're going to leave it just like that. Excellent. Then we have this flap to still do something with, and I'm going to do this. Since this fella and this fella go together, I'm going to have these two here, and then the two hedgehogs inside. So I'm going to quickly, or you could turn it over like this and make it a place for your notes or for a picture. So whichever you want to do. I think for photography's sake, I'm going to do this one. Okay. Ink it up. No mat on this top flap. Don't need it. But now you may want to go back and add another printed piece of paper underneath this flap. Because it might look a little bit better if you did. So I've got this, 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 and this. So go back and add one more piece of printed paper to this top flap here. It would be the same measurement as the outside, this piece here. Isn't that great? So that's the end of number 5. Okay, for page 6, I went ahead, got my printed papers cut out, and I also distressed them so I don't have to do that on air. And I'm going to get started now. So for my main paper mat, we've already done the first piece here where I've done the tree on the front here. I'm going to turn it over like this, and I'm going to attach my printed paper mat here, and I'm going to attach this flap here. So they need to be attached to this background paper before I actually put it on my page. So let me go ahead, run some glue in here. Yeah, I did do this off the camera. I'm sorry. Forgot to turn it on till it was too late. And I thought, well, you know how to glue a piece of paper down. Alrighty. And I obviously don't know how to glue. Try another one. That's what spares are for, but even the spares aren't working. I don't know if you've had this problem ever, but I have it quite frequently. There we go. Now, I'm going to take this and I'm going to glue it down to the back of that flap. I'm doing it on the left side. Good. Smooth it down. Now I'm going to open it back up. I'm going to miter that just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to take this other flap here and I'm going to glue it up here. Now, if you'll notice, this is the matching page. This is 5, so this is going to be 4. So I want the flap on the opposite side here. So I'm going to move it over to the right, and I'm going to glue it on to this background paper. So I'm going to put some more glue here. Okay. Excellent. I got to make sure, this is what I did last time. I didn't get it high enough, so I'm going to make sure I leave it high enough this time. Then how do I check? I put this over and see if it'll close. It does. Excellent. Nicely done. Okay, so now I can put my papers on here. And I did get a little bit of glue there, so I'm going to take it and glue it one more time. Make sure that I leave enough space up here before that crease that it can close without turning this. And it's still wanting to be a pain. But I'm sure this time it's going to behave. There we go. Good enough. All right. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to put on the inside of this flap, I'm going to take this piece here. This is the left flap. This is the back of the left flap right here. And this is the little narrow printed paper, which is 2 1/8 by 5 3/4. And I'm going to glue it down. It's going to go right here. Good. Then I'm going to take this pretty green linen paper and I'm going to put it right here. And it is 4 1/2 by 5 3/4. This is really going to pop. Okay, so maybe this is my favorite. And then I'm going to use corrugated paper that's already ready to go on. And it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm going to pop that right onto here. That's pretty, isn't it? Can't smooth it down with a burnishing tool, so I got to hold it for a second. Then I'm going to put, let's see. I think that would look nice there. So I'm going to put that mat on. Excellent. Moving right along. And if you want to pop that up, you can. I'm just going to lay it on there like that. Now I'm going to go to the front. The front side we've already done. So now I'm going to do this particular piece here. And on the front of it, let's see, where's the other piece? Right here it is. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this so I could do a pretty photo on that. So, yeah, I know, the hedgehog's cute and all. Well, which do y'all like? Let's see. If I put that on there, that does kind of pop, doesn't it? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, I give. Okay. Yes, I'm putting all the mats on before I attach it down to the page. It's okay. And that way, if I make a boo-boo, I've not ruined the whole page. Then I'm going to stick this piece up here. And we are about done with page 6. There we go. Voila, page 6. Nicely done. Now, let's stick it down to the page. Again, we pull out a brand new insert. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to put the glue on the back of this. Okay. And I'm going to have to put my flap over because I want it to be nice and straight. I want to be careful that the flap doesn't go over the top and the bottom. And there you are. This will flip up. This will open like this. And it's a pretty inside. That's number 6. Alrighty. Moving on to page 7. So for page 7, we're going to start with our blank book, and we're going to do it just a smidgen different. Yes, we have flaps that go on it this time, but what we're going to do is we're going to attach the flaps to our page. So on the back of page 6, we're going to add page 7. And I'm going to be gluing this down right here to the very edge. So I'm going to take my glue. I still like mitering it, so let's do that. Okay, now I'm going to glue this down right onto the page. A little bit heavy-handed on the glue. Now, I want to make sure the page is right side up, okay? Good deal. Now, I'm going to do this other flap. I'm going to take it and burnish it. Add my miter. Okay. And this one's going to go right here in the center of this. Up to the edge. Close enough to the edge. Yeah, there we go. I don't want it quite to the edge, but I want it really close. It's hard to see on the camera, I know. Okay, so now that I've got that flap and that flap, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first piece, which is this one, and I didn't distress it very well, so I'm going to go back over it one more time. Okay, and I'm going to attach this onto the page like so. My flap's already down, so I'm not going to mess up that. So I'm going to take it and glue this here. Put this down, and I want it to be up here at the very top, giving myself just a little wiggle room. There we go. Score it, burnish it down. Good. Now I'm going to take this other long piece here, and I'm going to overlap it just a smidgen onto there. Okay? You can use whatever piece you want. And I'm going to just quickly do these edges and glue it down. Leaving about the same amount of border that I did at the top. Just overlap enough that you don't show the brown paper through. There we go. Now I'm going to take this pocket and this piece here. This is another card pocket, so we're going to quickly fold all these pieces and burnish it down, miter it, and stick it on. So let's quickly do that. Because of all my boo-boos, this tape has taken a lot. This video has taken a lot longer. Okay. Take some tape and glue and add to it. Then burnish, 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 glue, glue, and glue. Lots of flaps. Lots of flaps. Little glue. Okay, now I'm going to put this on my page. Just like this. Make sure I've got it to where it's kind of even. Then I'm going to glue my little mat on top of that. and stick it down. Easy peasy. Didn't get it quite even. Let me move it. Now, for the last pieces, we have 2 pieces that go over here and over here. So I can use this one, this one. All right, let's go on the other side first. The reason being, I want to take this one and get it on. This is what's going to go right here, and I do need to distress those edges on this one. Okay. This wreath is really pretty. Okay. It's going to go just like that. So let me glue that on. After this page, I'll try to clean up my little work area so it's not quite so messy. There we go. Then behind it, I'm going to do this one, which kind of ties together. Or we could do this one, whichever one you think would look the best. I think this one would. So we're going to go ahead, distress that. And if I'm doing this for my own personal gain, I do a better job of distressing. I'm just truly trying to get it done quickly on the video. You can pause and stop long enough to distress yours correctly. Put this one here. Then we go over here, and I'm going to close it for a moment so I can see what this flap would look like. Oh, I think this one would be nice right there. What do you think? That would go well. So we're going to do that one right there. Or, yeah, I'm sticking with the one I decided on. Okay, glue that one down. It goes right here. Voila. And then this last piece goes on the inside. And I'm not going to distress it because I'm in a time crunch. Okay, and we'll put that one right there. Then your card will go in here. On the front of this, you're going to put a pretty decor there. All right, so you've got a green disc die cut out of your package, and then you need to go ahead and cut out a circle. You can fussy cut it, or you can punch it out with a large punch. I went ahead and distressed mine, and what we're going to be doing is just putting it right here in the middle. I put some pop-up tape behind it, and I'm going to pop it on right there. So this is what you end up with for page 7. Awesome, right? Okay. I forgot to pull the backing off my tape. But that's going to be beautiful, isn't it? Okay. On to page 8. All right. Page 8. You're going to need a new page to start with. This will be our last one. And we're going to need a base piece of printed paper. This is a gorgeous piece here. We're going to be mounting this on here, but before we attach it, once again, we're going to be adding our belly band and a flap. I've already distressed it, so we're going to take our main belly base, I call it, and we're going to put that on here, put this on here. Good. All right, and we're going to attach our pretty papers. I have already distressed every piece of the designer paper so that I don't have to worry about doing that on camera. Keeping it quick and easy. Okay, this is going to go on my belly band like this. So this is the belly base with the printed paper mat for the belly base, which is 5 1/4 by 5 3/4. Okay, I've got that. Now I'm going to reach over here and I'm going to take my little flap and I'm going to put my paper on here. Now see, I've made a divot in mine. Not a problem. Ooh, I think I'll put a pretty mouse on the front. You think that would be a good one? Yes, we'll do the mouse. Or I could do the mushrooms. I think I'll do the mushrooms. I haven't done many mushrooms. I've already got a mouse somewhere. So we'll use the mushrooms this time. It's always so hard for me to choose, man. That's the hardest part. Now I'm going to lay this down on here. Good. See if I can spread out just a little bit there. And then I'm going to put this other one on the opposite side. Now remember, this flap's going to go up, so I want this to go like this. And I could do it this way, but I'm going to do again the other side because I think it'd make a great place to journal or to add a photo. You can choose what you want to do. Okay, so this is the flap that'll go on the top. Okay, so I'll fold that now. Excellent. So here's what we're going to do. This and this. Okay, we're going to put it like this, and we're going to glue it, the flaps, down. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to add a little bit of glue here, and a little bit of glue here. Perfect. Line this up in the center. That looks great. And then just burnish this over. And burnish this one over. Good deal. Then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to attach it behind. So I'm going to put my glue on there, or tape, or both, whatever you choose. And I'm going to put this right here in the center. If I can find the center there. Good. Oh, that came out very pretty. Very pretty indeed. So we got a double flap there on top. Good. Then we're going to take this narrow piece here, run it through, and we're going to lightly bend it over, giving myself a little extra wiggle room. No, I did not miter those inside corners. I probably should have, but you know how I am. Sometimes I forget little things. And then I'm going to glue that together. And then I'm going to fussy cut something to go right here in the middle so that this can slide up and down. I think I might put a mushroom there. Something like that. Let's see what we have. I was looking at the paper here. And here we are. Lots of mushrooms. I do believe I'll do the snail, or no, I want that on the cover. So I think what I'll do is perhaps Okay, this is page 9. So it's the back of page 8. So we're going to flip it over. We're going to put a pretty piece of printed paper here. And I'll tell you, I've already distressed it and cut it to size. It's 7 3/4 by 5 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down. Here we are. This is a mirror image of the one we did at the beginning of the book. So it's done exactly the same way. So you're going to take a piece that came like this. You're going to fold it in the middle. Okay. So you're going to have a nice little valley fold. Then we're going to glue those two together so we can attach it like this. So go ahead and glue that. Burnish it down. Good. Now you can put it up here. You can put it in the middle. You can put it wherever you think it looks the nicest. But before you put it down, let's go ahead and put our ribbon and our borders on, because we need to put the mats and the borders so that we can finish it before we stick it down. So I'm going to put one here and one over here. Again, I've already distressed them. So I'm going to put one right there. I'm going to put one right over here. Like that and like that. Again, I've already distressed my pretty picture here. Follow your cutting guide for the measurements. I'm going to stick it down there. Okay. Excellent. Now, I'm going to take some mounting foam, which I just dropped in the floor and rolled. I'm going to stick that on the back here, and here. Good. I'm going to find some more pretty ribbon to go on there, and this time I think I'll use this rust color. So I'm going to cut a piece of it. I'm going to take my little bow maker here and make me a bow about the same size as last time. If you'd rather wrap it around and leave ends hanging out, you can. You don't have to tuck them to the back like I do. There we go. Good. Now I can put this right here. Let me pull the backings off. Here and here. I'm going to have to trim this quite a bit. So let's see here. I think that's about the center. Let's try that. And then pull the other end. I seem to be all thumbs, don't I? Scoot it down just a bit. Doesn't that look pretty? Yes. Trim off my ends. I've got them stuck down to the mounting foam so that the ribbon will stay in place. Perfect. And I'm going to put it, let's decide. Do I want to show the snail and have it up here? I think so. Let's try that. So I'm just going to glue this part here down. The double stick adhesive tape will hold, but since I've covered a lot of it with a ribbon, I think it'll be prettier if I do it like this. Press that down, get it nice and straight. Now I can put a picture in here and one back here. And that's page 9. On to 10. So for page 10, that's the back of our album here. And for the back of our album, we're going to take all of these pieces here. Okay, page 10. So we've got This isn't hard. It just looks like a whole bunch of good stuff. Not a problem. This is our main piece here, the putty cardstock. Then this is going to go on top of it like this. So let me just dress those real quick. Okay, I'll just dress this, get it ready. We're almost done, guys, with the pages, and then the next video will show you how to put them together and do the cover. So we'll do that in the next video. One more border piece here. Oh, I've already done it. Good. Excellent. And then I will cut this out here. Actually, I'm going to tear it out. If you tear up, you see the paper fibers. If you tear down, you get a crisp edge. I like the paper fibers, so I'm tearing it up. Uh-oh, I tore part of my wording. Not good. And then I'm going to take my distress tool and just kind of ink it a little bit. Give it a little bit of color there. Off camera, I'll fix that so that it will come out looking decent when you see it on your samples. I'll put a decent one on there. Okay, now I got all my pieces distressed and ready. So I'm going to take this piece here. I'm going to glue it down to my back page on the putty cardstock. So I got to get it on the cardstock first. Put it on here. Not in camera, sorry. Oh, looked up. Almost missed it. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it this way. So I'm going to glue this into the book now. It will cover the back cover. So I'm going to stick it right here and here. Perfect. Easy peasy. Now I'm going to take my pocket. Again, this is the 4th pocket for cards. So I'm going to quickly score that. Add a little bit of a clipping of a miter there. And those edges. Good. And then I'm going to glue that down to my page. I could use tape or glue, either one. Okie doke. And I'm going to put it right here. Burnish that down so it'll stay. Hold it for a moment. I'm going to take this other piece here and this piece, and I'm going to attach this to this. I'm going to turn it this way. And then I'm going to attach this to this one right there. That looks great, doesn't it? Okay, and then I'm going to take this piece and put it right there. Kind of cover up that one seam. Excellent, and that gives us page 10.